welcome to the State of Business on our television with me, Kavish Kapereira. Let's take a look at today's headlines. The vessel P626 acquired by the Sri Lankan Navy from the US government was commissioned as SLNS Gajabahu. Sri Lankan Airlines achieves the world's most punctual airline title again. News in detail. The vessel P626 acquired by the Sri Lankan Navy from the US government in a bid to escalate the operational capability of Sri Lanka's sea arm was commissioned as SLNS Gajabahu on a ceremonial note under the patronage of President Maithripala Sirisena and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces at Colombo Harbour yesterday. Subsequently, the ceremony saw the commanding officer of the ship, Captain Rohit Abesinghe, receiving the commissioning warrant from President Maithripala Sirisena, who was the chief guest of the event. This vessel was previously owned by the US Coast Guard and it was later officially handed over to the Sri Lanka Navy on 27 August 2018 in Hawaii in United States. The 115-meter long and 13-meter wide platform has the maximum speed of 28 knots. It has a displacement of 3,302 tons and the ship is manned by 22 officers and 111 sailors as its crew. Once the ship being joined the Sri Lanka Navy fleet, it can be considered as the largest platform to be held by the Sri Lanka Navy. More of the ship can be utilized for patrol and surveillance missions in the deep seas around Sri Lanka and thereby to ensure the maritime security. Thus, the US Ambassador to Sri Lanka, Laina B. Teplis, was among the distinguished invitees present at the event. Sri Lankan Airlines achieved the remarkable feat of being named the world's most punctual airline yet again, with 90.75% of its flights in May 2019 being on time throughout its route network. Sri Lanka's national carrier has won a string of recent international awards, including World's Leading Airline to the Indian Ocean at the World Travel Awards and Asia's Leading Airline to the Indian Ocean at the World Travel Asia Awards, Australasia. Sri Lankan Airlines operates a route network of 111 cities in 48 countries from its hub in Colombo and also connects to over 1,000 cities in 160 countries through its One World partner airlines. This is the second time in less than 12 months that Sri Lankan achieved this milestone, having also achieved the world's #1 ranking in September 2018 with a punctuality rating of 91.37%. Sri Lankan headed the categories of global airlines and major airlines among all airlines that are monitored by the flight data analysis company flightstats.com. Also, Sri Lankan has constantly been one of the world's most punctual airlines over the last 12 months, with 86% of flights departing on time and 85% arriving on time from June 2018 through May 2019 on average. A high level of punctuality contributes to the airline's financial bottom line, since flight delays sometimes result in additional costs being incurred. Chairman of the Sri Lanka Ports Authority, Kavan Ratnayaka, says that the East Container Terminal of the Colombo Harbour will be operational by second half of next year under the proposed terminal operating company that will be jointly formed by Sri Lanka Ports Authority, Japan and India. Sri Lanka, India and Japan recently signed a memorandum of cooperation for the development of the East Container Terminal, in which the Ports Authority would have 51% stake. The Ports Authority officials estimate that the first phase of the East Container Terminal would be operational by September-October next year. According to the memorandum, Ports Authority would retain 100% ownership of the terminal and a terminal operating company known as TOC will be formed between the Ports Authority and nominated partners from Japan and India, in which the Ports Authority would hold 51% stake. Ports Authority Chairman Kavan Ratnayaka said that the proposed TOC would also commence the construction of second phase of the terminal, which would require an investment of around $400 million. Once completed, the ECT would have a capacity similar to the Colombo International Container Terminal, which is operated by China Merchants Port, with a 2.4 million 20-foot equivalent units with 1,200 quay wall. Ports Authority Chairman Ratnayaka also said SLPA would move ahead with the West Container Terminal development with a partner once the ECT begins operations. Speaking exclusively to our television, Director General of the Petroleum Resources Development Secretariat, Vajra Dasanayaka, said that the Petroleum Resources Development Secretariat has formulated a gas policy with the intention of building confidence of the investors on Sri Lanka's gas exploration project. He also added that they are waiting for the cabinet approval for the policy.
In order to support the investors who are willing to come in for exploration in Sri Lanka, what we have done is we have formulated a gas policy, and that is about to reach the Cabinet of Ministers very soon for approval. We've had a public consultation session as well, and from there it will give a lot of confidence for the investors to come in and do the exploration, because as it gives enormous boost to them, it provides quite a lot of confidence, as it will give priority to indigenous natural gas above other LNG importation that would be for electricity generation and other purposes in Sri Lanka.
Stay tuned for more news after this short commercial break. Welcome back. The United Kingdom has relaxed its travel warnings to Sri Lanka imposed after the Easter Sunday bombings. It no longer advises against non-essential travel. However, the United Kingdom warns its citizens to be vigilant on possible further attacks. The UK High Commission claimed that the decision to relax its travel advisory on Sri Lanka was taken considering the current security status in Sri Lanka. Nevertheless, the UK High Commission also admitted that no foreign travel can ever be assured to be safe since terrorists are likely to attempt to carry out further attacks in Sri Lanka. Furthermore, the High Commission mentioned that the UK anti-terror experts were also helping Sri Lanka security forces with some aspects of the probe and that the relaxation of the travel ban will help Sri Lanka's recovery from the Easter Sunday attacks and in efforts to build a safe and inclusive future for everyone. Exports during the third and fourth quarter may hamper as importers have cancelled trips to Sri Lanka due to the travel bans and advisories, said by the National Chamber of Exporters chairperson Ramya Weerakoon. National Chamber of Exporters chairperson Weerakoon also added that the business community expects some sustainable measures by the government to build the confidence among the importers. She made these remarks today exclusively speaking to our television.
For that matter, the buyer's confidence, that which has affected because they were unable to visit Sri Lanka on buying spree, and that causes big drawback to the export industry. Entire business community expect from the government not to have ad hoc policy, some sustainable policy remain for at least for 1 year. What we request from the government to maintain a suitable environment for us to go through with our work.
Agriculture Director General Dr. W.M. Vijayasiri Weerakoon yesterday stated that heavy rainfalls due to the southwest monsoons will reconsolidate paddy cultivation and other main crops that dropped over the past years due to variable monsoons and lack of rains and drought. Furthermore, Dr. Weerakoon stressed that the department is keyed up to achieve an increase in the output of vegetables and fruits under the introduction of crop rotation strategies which will help the farmers whose cultivations were affected by the drought. On a positive note, Dr. Weerakoon also said that the people will have enough rice to eat throughout the year in spite of the decline in paddy output because of the sufficient supply in the granaries. Meanwhile, the officials also said that the drought has held back local farmers, but with the arrival of the normal southwest monsoon and positive rains, farmers have become confident to grow crops on their farms in rain-fed districts such as Kurunegala and in other areas such as Bingiriya, Kuliyapiti and Mavathagama where there is no irrigation. The Department of Meteorology warns that the showery conditions are expected to enhance tomorrow in most parts of the island, particularly in the southwestern part, due to this rising southwest monsoon conditions, and the showers or thunder showers will occur at times in the western, southern, central, Sabaragamu and northwestern provinces. According to heavy falls above 100 millimeters can be expected at some places, particularly in southern and Sabaragamu provinces and in Kalutara district, and fairly heavy falls of about 50 millimeters can be expected at some places in Gampaha, Colombo, Puttalam and Nuwara districts. Fairly heavy falls of about 50 millimeters can be expected at some places in the eastern and Nuwara provinces. Fairly strong gusty winds up to 40 kilometers per hour are also likely over the country, particularly in the central hill area and over the southern coastal areas. There may be temporarily localized strong winds during thunder showers, and the general public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by lightning activity. Showers or thunder showers will occur at times in the sea areas off the coast extending from Mana to Hambantota via Colombo and Galle. The sea area of the coast extending from Trincomalee to Mana via Kankasanture and sea area off the coast extending from Mathura to Pothuwil via Hambantota can be rough at times, as the wind speed can increase up to 60 km per hour at the naval, and fishing communities are requested to be vigilant in this regard. Stay tuned for stock updates after this short commercial break. Welcome back. Trading at the Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a positive note today. The All-Share Price Index gained 21.34 points to close at 5,298.18, and the S&P/SL 20 gained 17.78 points to close at 2,459.92. The turnover is 170 million rupees with over 7.13 million shares volume. Next up is Forex rates. Well, that's a wrap of the bulletin for the day. Signing off with a promise for tomorrow to meet you with the Biz Roundup for more of the very latest. Thank you and good night.